Hello everyone, I thought I made a video that's more like a retrospective type of video. When I finished the campaign of Doom 2016, I always felt inspired to pursue in making campaign content for SnapMap. I always thought 2016 campaign was great, but it always kind of left you wanting more in a way, and I think that's why I was always motivated to making campaigns for Doom 2016. Campaigns in Doom SnapMap is really the most challenging type of content to make because it's pretty much designed to test your video game making skills. You have to make levels that feel different from one another. You gotta take players on an adventure and hope they'll stick with it, and there's just so much to it compared to making a solo level. I've always took pride of finishing all my campaigns because it's not easy to finish them because of so many creative obstacles you'll go through when making levels, and it also just saddens me when I play a community campaign from other authors. I never liked it how once I got myself into their work, like fully immersed into their work, just to reach at the end and knowing the author just gave up on their project for unknown reasons. That's something that's an issue within Doom 2016 mapping scene compared to like classic Doom, where you play a Mega WAD. You're getting the whole experience, whether it's Alien Vendetta or Icarus Alien Vanguard. Those fan-made classic Doom campaigns will give you the whole experience, and that's something I always remind myself when I'm making campaigns for Doom 2016. With that said, I'm going to be completely honest on how I feel about them throughout the years, and let's do it. I've made 6 Doom 2016 campaigns throughout my life, and the first one was called Doom the Decimators. I'm going to be honest, this one has not aged well. This one was made back when Doom SnapMap only had launch day content, and it literally feels like a toddler made this campaign. It's so bad, it doesn't represent the real me, if you would say, but at the end of the day, if there is something positive I can say about this campaign, and that it was a reminder of how I need to improve myself as a designer. This would lead me to making another project that I believe still holds up pretty well, and that second campaign I made was Decipher. This one is near and dear to me. I made this campaign when Doom SnapMap finally had a lot of good updates to motivate me to redeem myself from the first campaign. It has 9 levels, they all feel different from each other and have different goals of what they're trying to achieve. It's also very challenging. It was designed to be harder than the base campaign of 2016, and I still think it's a blast to play. I have a lot of great memories playing this one in co-op with friends, which I think this campaign does shine well in that aspect, but it does have its issues too. The checkpoint system, in my opinion, wasn't the greatest system I used back then. Some of the detail isn't as good compared to my later works. I've done some stupid stuff. For example, the second last level has this terrible platforming section, which back then I thought that was a great idea, but now I really hate it. But it was the foundation towards a lot of the stuff that I believe a good custom Doom 2016 campaign should have. What that means is the combat is fun, there's variable level of intensity, lots of exploration, it takes you to like a whole different locations, stuff like that. And here are some bonus facts. You guys know Sylar, the guy who does all those custom Doom Eternal Master level content? I remember his username used to be on the leaderboards for Decipher, and I think that might have been him. Decipher was really targeted towards those type of players, and I think it's cool that he enjoyed Decipher. Another fun fact was, I remembered back when Doom SnapMap used to have a population of people playing public matches. I bumped into these 2 guys, and they were playing my campaign. We ended up finishing all of it together, and they said something like, "That was a pretty good campaign, dude. Most of the stuff we play are generally garbage, but that was actually a nice change of pace." Personally, I thought that was really cool to get that sort of comment because I wanted co-op players to be able to play cool stuff like Decipher. Anyways, on my third campaign, which is Redemptor, this one was a classic Doom style campaign I made, and it's a fairly short one, only 5 levels, and one of them was a secret level. It's basically like Decipher, but with classic textures, and I personally think it doesn't hold up as well. I made this campaign by making this stupid rule where I tried to finish all maps with about 90% network minimum, and that hurt the quality of the levels. Some of the levels truly show that because I was just trying to jam pack as much content within the map when I shouldn't have. With that said, it is a campaign that's predominantly custom geo, there's that. It is super challenging, so if you want that in your 2016 custom campaigns, Redemptor is good in those aspects. But honestly, I think Redemptor is my weakest quote-unquote good campaigns I've made. A lot of the levels could have been so much better if I didn't force myself to follow that 90% network rule. I guess I'll end it with one good thing about Redemptor. I still think the first level is my best starting level I've ever done in a campaign. It's just jam-packed with lots of stuff that you'll generally want in a good classic Doom level. Secluded is the fourth campaign I made, and this is still my most ambitious work I've done. I wanted this campaign to be more story-driven and have more to it. The campaigns I've made previously was all little story and more on the gameplay, but I wanted this campaign to be more than just gameplay. It was supposed to be an experience. It has 12 levels, a good mixture of enhanced prefab modules and custom geo areas, and I think it's still one of my best works yet, if not my best campaign. Some of the levels are so good, especially the final level. Like, I still don't know how I managed to make that level because I remember replaying Secluded to prepare myself for Slayer's Reprisal, and Secluded was a lot of fun to replay, and it reminded how I wanted this campaign to be like a swan song. At the time, I was thinking about being done with mapping for Doom 2016 after Secluded was completed, but I came back because Doom 2016 is just too good and I have too much passion for the game. If there are flaws I can mention, I think some of the levels aren't as interesting as others, and I do think I could have toned down the difficulty. I wanted Secluded to be more accessible, but it's sort of not, and I think I kind of overdid it with some of the intense combat is. Still though, it's a very progressive campaign, and if you want something like that in your Doom 2016 campaigns, give it a shot. Knee Deep in SnapMap is the fifth campaign, and it is a classic themed one. Obviously, it's a reference to the first episode of Doom 1. This one is basically a short but sweet type of campaign. It's definitely higher quality than Redemptor for sure, and most of the levels are not that long. There's only one level that's long, which is the second last one, which I did it just to mix it up, and it has the craziest switch puzzle I've ever done. You're gonna get lost like crazy, but it is beatable. I have a decent amount of good things to say about this one. Lots of cool geo. It nails down the episode 1 flow very well. Just a lot of fun to play, but it's not the greatest thing I've done. I think this campaign is a solid one if you want something short, but still get to experience the nice geo and gameplay design. I honestly think you can beat it in one sitting, even on a blind playthrough. But like I said, the second last level, it will take a while. I guess if you like tech-based oriented classic Doom levels in your Doom 2016, you can try this one out. Last but not least, Slayer's Reprisal, which is my recent work. I am still proud of this campaign I've done. It feels like a culmination of everything I've learned from the previous campaigns I've made in the past, and this is the result. I decided to make this campaign actually continue the events after Doom 2016's main campaign, and I think the whole time warp issue concept was a neat idea to go for. The levels are very diverse from each other. I think the geo's great, the combat's great. Like, it's really hard for me to find any real flaws with Slayer's Reprisal. I guess it doesn't have the same intense difficulty like my old work has, and it's sort of designed to be more approachable for players of all skill levels, but I think it can still be kind of brutal at times because at the end of the day, I do love making content that can challenge me, and I do need that in my maps, personally. I think the final level of Slayer's Reprisal is probably one of the coolest levels I've done, and I think the secret level, which was the post-launch content, had a neat idea too. Lots of interesting locations and goals that the levels in this campaign are trying to do. Slayer's Reprisal goal is to make the player feel like they're playing a Doom 2016 expansion and embracing more of the classic Doom roots than the actual campaign itself, and I think I nailed it. That is basically it for this video. I've made 6 Doom 2016 campaigns in my life, and it took a lot of hours, trust me. But I'm glad for the most part I can still enjoy them because I always wanted these levels to please me in the long term, and they still do. If you ask me which campaigns you should try out if you've never played any of these from start to finish, I'll say either Secluded or Slayer's Reprisal. The other campaigns are fine too, except for my first one, but they're one of those campaigns where they are flawed, but they do got their special magic and greatness to it. I think both Secluded and Slayer's Reprisal are much more polished overall, and it doesn't have as many flaws compared to them. Thank you for watching the video, and stay tuned for more Doom SnapMap content when I can find the time to do them.